This is a poem about my early years growing up in the Jehovah's Witness organisation, surrounded by the fear of Armageddon and being raised by a lovely mother who had terrible mental health challenges. She had manic depression, or bipolar as it's called these days. They were all going to die. They scuttled over the shiny pine-scented floor. The vibrant herd swung past me, vanishing like vapour into the school hall. The double doors whipped almost shut, but for a few gentle swings like double-jointed limbs before coming gracefully and purposefully to rest. They were assembled. The scraping of chairs, the shuffling feet, the giggles and sneezes, then finally the resting, soothing, settling sound of sighs. They were safely in their seats now, but they were all going to die, not I. A half-hearted hymn oozed through the walls of my lonely yet peaceful corridor. A prayer was said, a dull, bored mumble of an amen graced its grand finale. More words, and then a solitary pair of plimsolls plodded somewhere and back, rewarded with an effortless clap. I had no idea why. They were all going to die, not I. Every now and then a latecomer would usher past me, throwing me a puzzled glance, while taking the chance to draw a miraculous breath. A breath they hoped would take them invisibly and silently through the doors and into their seats without catching the attention of anyone's eye. I never saw the result of those optimistic breaths. I hope they made it through the hall. After all, they were all going to die, but not I. Her pride burned into me. It shaped me. It was who I was and who I am. It was a big day, a proud day, a day that made me special, special brave, special broken. 6 years old with the courage of David, a king with a giant in his midst. I am David. My name is David. It was she, not me, that added the biblical twist. I tapped tentatively on the door and waited with bated breath until called into his lair, taking in my own miraculous sip of air. I announced to the head that I couldn't and wouldn't take part in assemblies, that I would not and could not take part in Christmas, and would have no participation in any way, no reindeer, no Rudolph, no Santa's sleigh, and I would not be singing those pagan songs. It was wrong to sing them, but how I longed to sing them. The double-jointed doors slapped back open, and the herd stamped back into their day. They were laughing and joking. I wasn't. They were all going to die, not I. They didn't look like sinners. They didn't seem evil. If I'd have been God, I would have wanted to save them. I would have loved them, forgiven them, and been proud that I'd made them. But they were all going to die unless I could save them. I wasn't sure I was able. I was too scared to try. I really didn't want anyone to die. Shortly after my stand for the truth, I was taken. Late at night in torrential rain, in the back of a big black taxi, its amber sign reflecting back at me from the wet, cold road. Here I was, barely breathing, frantic with panic, abandoning, leaving, guilty tears and guilty grieving, grieving for her and grieving for me. No winners. It was the sinners that set me free. She was there now, alone, in that dimly lit shell of the home where I'd grown and that I knew so well. Sometimes it was heaven, and sometimes it was hell. I knew she was ill. I knew it was bad. She could get so angry, she could get so mad. Sometimes she was dragged screaming and shouting and swearing and fighting into the back of a waiting ambulance. Sometimes with a policeman, sometimes not. Sometimes it was a very long time before she came back, and sometimes not. She left wailing and weeping, and she came back mainly sleeping. She slept a lot. She told the judge that if I'd needed blood to save me, that she would let me join her father. It didn't go down so well with the judge, and it didn't go down so well with my father. He'd been away in his new life, holding out for a new wife and living the high life to the full, having his fancy dinners with the other sinners. But his baggage, though, would shortly be arriving in the baggage hall. And they were all going to die, but not I. I landed in a confused and relieved heap amongst them. A different corridor, a different herd, a different set of double-jointed doors. But now I was scraping my chair. I was coughing, I was sighing, I was mumbling their prayers. We were all in assembly, them and I. We were all going to die. I might get away with it, I guess, but then I had to confess to opening those presents, to loving those presents. That mountain of glittering sin under the tantalising tree was too much to bear. I didn't care. I didn't dare to care. The door slammed shut on paradise for the price of the joy that a toy could bring to a boy, not a king. This David was no longer king. I lied. I was greedy. I hadn't given those gifts to the needy like she'd said that I should. I was a lost boy. I was gone for good. Would God still find me? I hoped he would. Namaste.